nor anti-ship cruise missile dropped off the rail of a mobile coastal defense launcher hidden inside a warehouse on the southern Iranian coastline and turned south toward the Strait of Hormuz. The missile was a Chinese-designed C-802 built under Iranian license, a sea-skimming weapon carrying a 365-pound warhead at roughly 660 miles per hour, just under the speed of sound. It cost the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy approximately $120,000 to produce. The target it was aimed at sat 38 nautical miles to the southwest, a gray silhouette barely visible on radar against the commercial clutter of one of the busiest shipping lanes on Earth. Iranian intelligence had classified the contact as a logistics support vessel, a slow-moving, lightly armed supply ship operating ahead of a carrier strike group transiting east through the strait. They had classified it wrong. The ship sitting at the end of that missile's flight path was the USS Robert Smalls, an Arleigh Burke-class Flight 3 guided missile destroyer carrying 96 vertical launch cells, the Spy-6 air and missile defense radar, 2 independent fire control channels, and a crew that had spent the last 11 months deployed in the 5th Fleet area of operations. Her combat systems alone were worth more than $900 million. The Nor missile racing toward her had been built for roughly the price of a mid-range sedan. That math was about to matter in a way nobody in Tehran had planned for. 12 miles north of the destroyer, aboard a 47-foot Paycap-class fast attack craft designated Bandar 1, a crew of 6 Iranian sailors watched a handheld GPS track update and believed the night was going exactly as briefed. Their mission was straightforward. 3 fast attack craft would close from spread positions under emissions control, while the shore-based missile battery initiated the strike. The missile would force the target into defensive confusion. The boats would exploit the confusion to press inside 8 nautical miles and release their own weapons, a coordinated saturation attack against a vessel they expected to have no meaningful ability to fight back. 900 meters to port, Bandar 2 held formation in the dark. A third craft, Bandar 3, ran wider to the east, tasked with cutting off any escape route toward Omani waters 22 miles to the south. The plan was built on speed, darkness, and the assumption that the target could not see them coming. In the Combat Information Center of the Robert Smalls, 24 feet below the waterline, an operations specialist second class was the first to see the anomaly. A brief radar return appeared and vanished near the Iranian coast, inconsistent with the established shipping tracks her team had been monitoring for the previous 6 hours. She flagged it without drama. The symbol was tentative, possibly a fishing vessel launching late, possibly sea clutter bouncing off a dow's metal hull. But the bearing was wrong for either explanation, and the operator knew it. The tactical action officer leaned in. He studied the contact for 4 seconds, then keyed the net. All stations, new track of interest bearing 028, classification pending. Increase sensor sweep rate sectors 2 and 3. Nobody in CIC raised their voice. The ship had been at a heightened readiness condition since entering the strait 90 minutes earlier. Every console was manned. Every system was warmed and calibrated. The SBY-6 radar, the most advanced shipboard sensor the United States Navy had ever put to sea, was already scanning a volume of airspace and surface territory that covered more than 2 million cubic miles of the surrounding environment. If something moved within 200 nautical miles in any direction, the Robert Smalls could find it, name it, and assign it a track number before the object had traveled its own length twice. The Nor missile was now 30 nautical miles out and descending toward its terminal approach altitude, roughly 15 feet above the water. At that height, the weapon was designed to hide inside sea clutter, invisible to older radars until the final seconds before impact. Against the Spy-6, the tactic bought the missile approximately 9 additional seconds of concealment. That was all. Track 7021, now classified as cruise missile threat, the Air Defense Coordinator announced. Inbound, single body, sea skimmer, speed 570 knots. Bearing constant. The captain arrived in CIC the way captains always arrive in CIC during a real event, already informed, already calm, already reading the room before the room had time to brief him. He absorbed the display in a single sweep. 1 inbound missile. 3 surface contacts now firming in the northern arc emission patterns consistent with IRGC naval coordination frequencies. He looked at his tactical action officer and asked the only question that mattered right then. What's our best intercept layer for this profile? The answer came back clean. SM-2 Block IIC at range. Yes, SM Block 2 at medium. CRAM as terminal backstop. We have 3 layers before it gets within a mile. An SM-2 Block IIC interceptor cost the United States Navy approximately $2.1 million per round. The missile it was about to kill had cost Iran $120,000. Somewhere in a Pentagon procurement office, someone was going to read this report and feel their budget request write itself. Weapons free on track 7021, the captain ordered. The forward vertical launch system answered 3 seconds later. A standard missile, 2 punched out of its cell in an eruption of white smoke and orange flame, cleared the ship's superstructure, and pitched over hard toward the northeast. The missile accelerated to over 2,300 miles per hour inside 6 seconds, riding a continuous wave illumination beam that the ship's fire control director held on the inbound Nor with surgical steadiness. The intercept geometry was textbook. The SM-2 met the Nor 14 nautical miles from the ship at an altitude of 22 feet. The Iranian missile ceased to exist. Debris scattered across a quarter-mile of dark water. No fragment came within 12 nautical miles of the destroyer. Splash track 7021.
Kill confirmed.
But the night was not finished because what the crew of the Robert Smalls did not yet know was that the missile had not been the main attack. It had been the door opener. The ARGC's real weapon was already in the water and closing fast. 26 miles to the north, aboard Bandar 1, the crew had watched the missile launch signature bloom on their horizon and started their clocks. The plan called for 90 seconds of confusion aboard the target following missile impact. 90 seconds during which the target's crew would be fighting fire, assessing damage, redirecting sensors inward rather than outward. That was the window. The 3 attack craft were supposed to use it to cover the final distance and launch their own ordnance, a combined salvo of 6 Nasser 1 short-range anti-ship missiles at a defenseless, burning ship. Instead, the Nor had died 14 miles from the target, and the confusion window had never opened. Bandar 1's commander made a decision in the dark that would define the rest of the engagement. He ordered full speed ahead. All 3 craft surged to maximum power, their twin diesels pushing 47-foot hulls to 52 knots across black water, throwing rooster tails of white spray into the moonless air behind them. The sound alone would have been audible from miles away if anyone had been listening above the surface. Below the surface, in the acoustic quiet of the Robert Smalls sonar room, the sudden bloom of high-speed propeller cavitation lit up the display like someone had switched on a flashlight in a dark hallway. 3 high-speed surface contacts. Bearing 015 through 042. Converging. Speed 52 knots and accelerating. The tactical picture in CIC updated itself in a cascade. The missile had been one problem. This was a different kind of problem entirely. Fast attack craft operating in a swarm profile were not engaged the same way as a single inbound cruise missile. They were closer, faster to maneuver, harder to track individually in sea clutter, and capable of launching independently from multiple angles. If even one of those boats reached effective Nasser 1 range, roughly 22 miles, the destroyer would face a new inbound salvo with less reaction time and a more complex engagement geometry. The captain studied the converging tracks for 2 seconds. Launch the Hello. I want eyes on every one of those contacts before they cross 20 miles. On the flight deck, the MH-60R Seahawk had been turning rotors at idle for the past 9 minutes, held back during the missile engagement, ready for exactly this order.
Chocks pulled. Ties released.
The aircraft lifted into black air and banked hard to the north, climbing to 200 feet before leveling off and pushing toward the threat sector with its APS-153 multimode radar already painting the sea ahead. The helicopter crew acquired Bandar 1 inside 40 seconds. Infrared bloom off the engines was unmistakable against the cold water. Then Bandar 2, 900 meters to its west. Then Bandar 3, running wider to the east, trying to swing around to the destroyer's beam. Inside CIC, the picture was now fully built. 3 hostile fast attack craft in a spread formation, closing from the north at 52 knots. 1 inbound cruise missile already destroyed. Shore-based targeting emissions still active along the Iranian coast. The attack was coordinated, deliberate, and ongoing. What the Iranian crews did not understand, could not have understood from their position low on the water in an open cockpit boat doing 52 knots in the dark, was that the ship they were charging had already killed their opening move and was now reading their second move in real time. The Robert Smalls was not confused. She was not burning. She was not blind. She was tracking every one of them with a radar system that could distinguish a single human standing on a boat deck from the boat itself at 40 miles. Their entire plan had been built on the assumption that they would arrive at a scene of chaos. They were arriving instead at a firing range. Bandar 1, the lead craft, crossed the 20 nautical mile threshold at 0353. In CIC, the Air Defense Coordinator confirmed the track had entered the outer engagement envelope for the ship's weapons systems. The Seahawk crew simultaneously reported visual confirmation of weapons mounted on the lead craft's foredeck, a twin-rail launcher consistent with a Nasser 1 anti-ship missile system. Hostile intent confirmed on all 3 surface tracks. Recommend weapons free. The captain's response was immediate. Weapons free. Engage in sequence. Lead track first. What happened next took 11 seconds. A single RGM-84 Harpoon anti-ship missile launched from the Robert Smalls midships canister bank, turned north, dropped to sea-skimming altitude, and covered the distance to Bandar 1 at 537 miles per hour. The fast attack craft never saw it coming. The Harpoon carried a 488-pound blast fragmentation warhead designed to kill vessels displacing up to 3,000 tons. Bandar 1 displaced approximately 13 tons. The result was not an engagement. It was an erasure. The craft came apart across 200 meters of ocean surface, burning debris scattering in a wide fan that glowed briefly on the Seahawk's infrared camera before the sea swallowed most of it.
Splash Bondar 1.
10 miles to the east, Bondar 3's crew saw the flash on the horizon and understood immediately that the plan was over. Their lead boat was gone. The target was not a logistics ship. The darkness that had been their ally for the last hour now contained something far worse than an unaware victim. The Paycap-class boat heeled hard to starboard and turned northeast at maximum speed, abandoning its flanking run and driving for the nearest Iranian territorial water boundary, 14 miles away. Bondar 2 made a different choice. Whether driven by training, ideology, or the simple inability to process what was happening fast enough to make a rational decision, the crew of the second attack craft maintained course.
They kept coming.
At 52 knots, they were closing the gap to the destroyer at nearly a mile per minute, driving toward a ship that was now fully engaged, fully aware, and fully capable of killing everything on the surface within 30 miles. The tactical action officer tracked Bondar 2's approach without emotion. At 14 nautical miles, the craft crossed into the engagement envelope for the destroyer's 5-inch gun, a Mark 45 Mod 4 naval gun capable of firing GPS-guided rounds at targets 15 miles away with accuracy measured in single meters. The gun mount trained to starboard. Fire control locked. Engage Bondar 2. Gun action. 3 rounds left the barrel in rapid sequence. The first struck the water 30 meters ahead of the craft, a near miss that sent a column of spray over the boat's bow. The second hit the engine compartment. The third was unnecessary, but had already been committed. Bondar 2's forward momentum carried the shattered hull another 200 meters before it settled and began taking water. The Seahawk orbited overhead, recording everything. 2 fast attack craft destroyed or disabled, 1 fleeing northeast toward Iranian waters. Shore-based emissions along the coast had gone silent at 0355, 2 minutes after Bondar 1 died. Whether the coastal battery crews had been ordered to cease or had simply decided discretion was the better option, the effect was the same. The attack was over. In CIC, the destroyer's crew began the methodical process of rebuilding the tactical picture from the ground up. Every sensor swept wide. Every track was re-examined. The Seahawk pushed its patrol arc farther north, searching for any additional platforms that might have been staged as a follow-on wave. Nothing appeared. The strait settled into the uneasy quiet that follows violence at sea, disturbed water, floating debris, and the steady electronic hum of a warship still scanning the dark for anything else that wanted to try. At 0401 local time, the captain authorized a return to modified transit posture. The ship maintained combat readiness across all systems but resumed her eastward track through the strait. The mission had not changed. The Robert Smalls was still headed to her assigned station. The only difference was the ammunition expenditure report that would be filed in the morning and the intelligence harvest that was already being packaged for transmission to 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, 380 nautical miles to the northwest. The crew secured from general quarters in stages over the next 45 minutes. Damage control teams confirmed 0 structural damage, 0 casualties, 0 system degradation. The ship had absorbed a coordinated multi-axis attack involving a shore-launched cruise missile and 3 fast attack craft, and emerged from it without a scratch on her paint. Iran had spent months positioning assets, coordinating intelligence, and rehearsing a strike package designed to destroy what they believed was a vulnerable American supply ship caught alone in the narrowest choke point on Earth. The total cost of their attack, 1 Nor missile, 3 Paycap-class fast attack craft, fuel, crew training, coastal radar support, and coordination infrastructure, came to roughly $14 million. The Robert Smalls had answered with 1 SM-2 intercepted